Hi, everyone. This is your host, Kristen Howe, and I am so excited to welcome you to our call with today's guests, Tristan and Sabrina Truscott. As a gifted and very enlightened black belt martial artist, Tristan faced a crippling back injury that put his dedicated physical career on hold. Through his intensely challenging time of doctor's visits and healing sessions, Tristan and his wife, Sabrina, came upon some amazing aha moments. With their combined experience of teaching meditation, healing, qigong, yoga, and mind-body fitness, Tristan and Sabrina discovered how to allow the flow of life force energy combined with mental focus to reverse his devastating condition and expedite his healing. Creating the Satori Method Academy, Tristan and Sabrina have dedicated their lives to helping people around the world on the path of awakening. They have since been honored to partner on projects with some of the biggest names in the personal evolution arena, such as John Assaraf, Joe Vitale, Peter Wagner, and many other celebrated teachers. Today, Tristan and Sabrina's total passion is helping you live a supercharged life, one that's filled with physical vitality, mental clarity, and spiritual joy. And on today's call, you will discover the core mistakes that prevent you from manifesting your desires. You'll find out a tried and true formula that gets the law of attraction working directly for you. You'll discover how to quantum transform all areas of your life, and you'll find out an easy-to-follow step-by-step guide that helps you lose weight, enhance healing, and attract love and money. You'll also, and this is amazing, I know you're not going to be able to wait for this one, you'll discover how to get results quicker and easier than you ever imagined. So now people can't wait to get going. I can't wait to get going. Tristan and Sabrina, welcome to this call.
Thank you, Kristen. It's awesome to be here with you.
I'm so excited to have you both here. Sabrina, you want to jump in and say hello?
Hello, everybody. I am excited, too.
Awesome. I have to tell you all, I was just laughing with Tristan and Sabrina before we started, so the energy of this call is going to be fun and really, really high energy, so I'm really excited for it. What I'd love for you to do, I hinted at your story a little bit, Tristan, but I'd love if the two of you could share a little bit of the evolution of some of the things that you've gone through that maybe weren't such amazing things to now you've transferred things and now you're manifesting a very high level of success. And we're particularly interested in those turnarounds in your story.
Absolutely. It's a joy for us to get to share about the drama and the trauma and all the different things that people go through on this wacky, crazy ride we call life. I remember somebody read something to me recently. They said that every master is first a disaster. And we do not claim to be masters of anything, but we're definitely working on personal mastery and trying to master the different areas of our lives and being very dedicated to our spiritual practice and our physical workout practice. We've been on a journey of trying to attain levels of mastery in martial arts. Like I have a black belt you had mentioned in the beginning, and Sabrina started dancing when she was 3 years old and ballet, and then she got into competitive dance. And so we've always been on this path of trying to refine ourselves. But there was a point in time on the journey of working on ourselves that I think we both hit a wall at different times, but we ended up meeting each other in a spiritual community because on that journey, I can only speak for myself. I'll let Sabrina share, but I hit a wall where I felt very empty, and I bet a lot of people can really relate to that. You're doing the formula of life that we're told to do by, the parents and the teachers and the peers, and we're trying to create happiness, but from the outside, right? And I got the black belt, and I thought that was going to be the thing that would wash away my self-consciousness and wash away my fears, and it did help me a lot. And I got to a very strong physical state in my life. But on the inside, even on the day that they gave me that black belt, I felt this inner state of disillusionment, kind of like, that's it? Shouldn't something more happen? I'd read all these books about, masters and spiritual awakening. I was like, wait a minute, when do I see the inner light, man? Where's that part of the journey? And it hadn't happened. And on the outside of the dojo, which is a martial arts school, I had a lot of drama. My relationships were not great with my family, but I'm supposed to be mastering this art, right, of discipline and focus and martial arts. and other things. Like I was still totally chicken to ask a girl out on a date. Like, what? You're a black belt and you're chicken to ask a girl out on a date? It doesn't fit, right? And so I had another teacher that showed up in my life right after I got my black belt. His name was Dr. Richard Schultz. He's a natural healer. He's quite famous, and a lot of folks probably know who he is. And he told me, he said, Tristan, you're trying to do all this stuff from the outside, and, you're this excellent martial artist and all of that, but you need to start looking deeper within, and you need to practice, I would recommend you practice meditation. And so that's where my meditation journey starts, and I started looking for a great meditation teacher, because I believe in life you should always find the best teachers and the best coaches and the best trainers that you can. Don't mess around, get the best training. So I found a really awesome meditation teacher and pitched to Sabrina, because that's where I met her, and she had already been there for a little while.
Yeah, we definitely met at a very similar time in our spiritual evolution when we were very young, in our very, very early 20s in West Hollywood. And I grew up, I would describe myself, a total overachiever. So nervous the first day of school because all the anxiety to, achieve academically, achieve athletically. I'm dancing, I'm in all the honors classes, and I'm joining theater, and I am excelling. And the more I excel, the more pressure you feel to maintain it and to push forward. And the confusion of my worth is based on what I do, and my accomplishments are somehow a reflection of my self-worth. And it was a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression, and looking for, when can I rest? Because as you know, with your background in acting, as soon as you get one role, you have to start thinking about the next. There's never a time to rest. It's never enough, because it's coming from the outside. I was looking to fix myself from the outside with things and accomplishments, and had this just deep yearning, like, who am I? Why are we all working so hard? What is this all about? Understanding God, being raised in a Christian religion, studying Buddhism, studying Hinduism, and looking for someone that could help me and guide me, because I wasn't finding anyone that really seemed to be totally fulfilled and happy just sitting still in a chair. And, I went from Virginia, and I lived in New York and did some soap operas, and then ABC took me out to L.A., and I did nighttime TV. And on the outside, you would have looked at what was going on in my life and saying, wow, she's rocking it. She's really lucky. But from inside, I was already exhausted, and I'm 22 years old and run down and not happy. Nothing was touching inside. No matter what I accomplished, it wasn't fulfilling that thing inside of me that needed to know I was worthy of love for no reason at all. And that's about the point that we met as these young spiritual seekers, and made a decision to focus pretty much solely on the evolution of our souls and our connection to consciousness, or God, whatever you want to call it, and to devote our lives to that and not focus on being great at doing stuff. And we really became minimalists. I walked away from my career, started taking ballroom dancing because you can teach adults, and just made enough money to get by doing competitive ballroom. And we started our meditation journey together, spending hours and hours a day either meditating, hiking, singing, doing charity work, doing service, celebrating who we are. And after many, many years of doing that, we were like, I bet there's a happy median between what we did before and what we're doing now, because we were totally broke, right? We had to have so many people in our house to help pay the rent because none of us were making any money, right? And we just realized we have to take that peace and that happiness. And now, wow, now we know we're not what we do, we're not what we have, and now we can really enjoy stuff. And it's okay to have it, and it's okay to celebrate it, and it doesn't have a meaning of who we are. It's just everything's an exchange. And that has been an incredible journey, I would say, the past 6 years, is really taking the focus from being totally on the outside to being absolutely focused solely on the inside, which can cause you to pull away from society and almost antisocial and judgmental. A lot of judgment towards people who have stuff, who are doing things. And we saw, it's a balance of the two, just a truly balanced, integrated life.
I love that. I love that you have gone through that entire journey. I know so many people, and actually I love that you even brought up the element of, wow, if you'd looked at my life from the outside, you would have thought, because I think there are so many people listening who they're even struggling with that thing of, wow, my life looks great from the outside. Why aren't I happy? So I love that you went through that full evolution and now have found yourself here in this amazing place of balance, because that's everything that we're talking about here, which leads me to, I want to ask you a question, because I think this is really important with this evolution that you guys have gone through, which really it's like the full spectrum. What would you say are the biggest mistakes? What are the core mistakes that we're all making that are preventing us from actually manifesting our desires?
That's an awesome question. Deep question. I think we can tackle it first from the place of, you mentioned that injury and that back situation that I went through. Well, I believe that was created by having a misalignment around creation and even what we could call the law of attraction, because I was using my spiritual practice. And so for those of you out there that struggle with, living a spiritually balanced life in the real world, maybe this will ring true to you. I was inwardly in a lot of resistance around moving into life and allowing myself to have stuff. I misinterpreted that whole spiritual teaching, which I believe they say Buddha said desires are the cause of all suffering. And that's how I heard it. But I believe that's a misinterpretation, that desires are actually a beautiful thing. Attachment to things that causes the suffering. And I was trying to live in this sort of altered state where I wasn't allowing myself to have things, right? And anytime I would want something, I would try to meditate and go beyond it and attain this spiritual nirvana-like state. And I was doing it so much that I think my body was trying to send me signals of like, hey, dude, you're so up in the ethers, and you need to come back down to reality. You need to get grounded again and get back into the real world. And I think that had something to do with the cause of the back injury, although there was something very physical and mechanical around it. Energetically, every time my body would give me a signal about something, I would meditate through it. I would meditate through the pain of all the years of martial arts, and I broke myself. And so we, Sabrina and I think, learned a lot of the mistakes that we were making starting on the spiritual journey, and then having to figure out how do we heal Tristan's body. Because I was trying all of these alternative therapies, cranial sacral, and, I tried my meditations and my yoga and hydrotherapy and you name it, even hypnotherapy and prolotherapy. And then eventually there was this $90,000 surgery in Beverly Hills that I had, because we kind of had run the course of all the alternative options. And even after that, my body was worse off from the surgery. And I hit an all-time low where I was completely depressed. I was losing all of my martial arts students. The business was struggling. It was really affecting our relationship because there was just so much internal frustration with the doctors and myself. And Sabrina and we were able to go into a deep dive training on, okay, what's really going on inside the brain here? What's going on inside that mind-body connection that could be causing this disruption in Tristan's body? And so the first step was I had to realize there was that spiritual disconnect. And so I allowed myself to get out in the world more and start exploring other things. other treatments, for example, the surgery, even though it didn't work. And as we started learning more and more about the mind, we learned that there's an energy that's flowing through the body. And that energy is affected by the different brainwave states that you get into. When you're in a stress brain state, you stop the flow of this life force energy or this qi. And I became really attracted to the art of qigong and moving the energy and freeing my system up. And while I was learning qigong, Sabrina and I were also learning about visualization and affirmations and getting in that brain state called alpha, because this qigong practice, it kind of fuses together a lot of the personal development modalities. And so some interesting things started happening for us. Well, first of all, the back pain went away, and there was incredible healing once I got the energy flowing again. And then Sabrina and I were focusing on, well, how can we use that to help people? And every time we would focus on something that we wanted and we were in a really positive vibration and a healthy state of flow, things just started to happen naturally. And I would say that that's the first mistake, in addition to that spiritual disconnect, is that the energy isn't flowing through us in an efficient, healthy way. And again, that is often caused by stress or fear-based thinking. So we got the energy flowing, and we would have like a thought, like I was studying an online marketing course about how to build your company. I wanted to build my dojo, my martial arts school, back up after losing all the students. And I was studying this program by an author, and it was wonderful. And I thought, man, I'd really like to meet that guy. He's really cool, and he's all about love-based marketing. And I told a friend who was teaching a self-defense seminar with me about this course, and I wanted to meet the guy. And he said, well, that's funny. I'm his personal trainer. I'll introduce you. Well, this guy was Joe Vitale, Dr. Joe Vitale, that I think most people know from the movie The Secret. Well, The Secret hadn't come out yet, and I got to have lunch with Joe before it came out. And so we had this wonderful talk and this wonderful lunch, and he shared a couple of things with me. And I think these are some of the other little missing pieces or to the secret, and I'll share those with you guys in just a second. The movie came out, and I went and watched it. Sabrina and I did together, and we loved it. And I bet most folks, if not every single person on this call, can really relate to that movie, because it showed you when you were in certain brainwave states or certain states of mind, you're sending out a signal. I loved how the movie showed that. So the guy that was always focusing on debt or, was in a fear situation, he sent out that signal, and the universe said, oh, let me give you more of that. Well, we then started looking at ourselves going, we must be putting out some weird signals, to attract certain things, like the back pain. I was putting out signals because the doctors had said.
And when Tristan says back pain, you have years of distance. He basically didn't walk very much for almost 5 years.
Wow.
I carried shoes. I carried special pillows. If we had to sit somewhere, he had a special seat in his car. It was truly life-shattering and miserable. And the fact that it finally came around to not addressing the back injury, but addressing the brain and addressing the energy flow was mind-blowing to us.
Yeah, totally. And so anyway, after watching The Secret and seeing how those thoughts are going out and it's coming back, we started to become very careful about the thoughts that we were having and the things that we were putting out. And just to jump forward a little bit, and I'll get back to that Joe Vitale little secret he gave me, was we saw another teacher in that movie that we really, really resonated with. And this was the guy who had cut out a picture of a home that he wanted to live on. I remember this story, and he put it on his vision board.
Absolutely.
And then packed that vision board away when he was moving and ended up in this new home. And his son was sitting on some boxes, kicking the boxes, and Daddy, what's inside? And he pulled out the vision board, and he was showing him what it was and how he created all his goals and looked at them and then started crying because he just in that moment realized the home they had just moved into was the home on that vision board. Not a home like it. It was that home. I was so blown away by that story. And I just thought, holy cow, wouldn't it be cool to meet that guy and even work with him? Because we were starting to do some work in the personal development world online. And anyway, I'm just going to jump forward. We ended up working with John and becoming business partners. And there's a whole story to that. But the thing that Joe Vitale helped me with was I had said, Joe, I want to attract a new car. And at some point, Sabrina and I would like to get married, and we'd like to have a beautiful home because, we don't have that right now. And I had said the words, in some time, over time. And he stopped me. He said, Tristan, you can have all of that, and it's possible for you to attract all of that now. And that key word now, I was like, wow, that's such a stretch for my mind. That you can have this quantum leap. You can allow things to manifest that quickly. And one of the other things that's so important is being ready to handle all of that manifestation. But I had a big block there as to the amount of time that it takes to manifest things. So that's another one of the little mistakes.
And I think a lot of people have that, actually, that whole, with time, that concept of how long will this take, and so they keep almost putting it in the future, so they never get there because they keep putting it in the future. Is that something that you see people run into?
Oh, absolutely. We always teach our students the subconscious mind is future-paced. It's always creating what's, heading towards us. So every time we think in the future, that just became in the future of right now. So that thought will never be right now. That, someday that'll happen, will always be someday. Unless you claim it right now, it will never be right now. It's like a book that never ends, and then every chapter it says, at the end of this book, you will learn. Every end of the book, you will learn. You have to get to the end of the book and learn. One thing that I think is a mistake that we have learned is when you say what you want, when you share what you want, you're really trying to get a clear blueprint of what you want, whether it's relationship or more wealth or better health. There's a part of you that really doesn't believe it, and you need to have really like a scientific imagination. You have to imagine it and see it as truer than true, like the Meisner technique in acting, truer than true. And believe that, and that's the seed. And you plant that seed, and you know that that seed is going to sprout and grow, and you don't go back and pull it out of the ground and check on it and doubt and, it probably won't grow. I probably didn't water it enough. There probably isn't enough sun. There is a lack of belief. So if that's the case, you have to find a statement that you can believe that feels more attainable. For example, some people immediately go from like a poverty consciousness to sort of just almost in a joking way saying, I'm a multimillionaire. But their subconscious mind won't really accept that yet. So perhaps by saying, I love money, or I am wealthier every day, finding a seed to plant that you can really embrace and trust and water. And then don't work so hard, because when you know something's going to happen, you don't stress out over it. You don't. Right. It doesn't take a lot of work. If Tristan tells me, he's going to do this, I say, oh, good, Tristan's taking care of that, right? Tristan says, I'm going to the store to buy eggs. I don't have to sit home the whole time he's gone and going, is he going to get the eggs? Is he going to get the eggs? Is he going to find them in the store? Is he going to know how to carry them? Is he going to break them on the way home? Because all of that is undoing everything that I've already done. And I'll say one more thing that I think is a mistake. It's sort of a complex one, is that a lot of us grew up feeling that almost that not having was an honorable thing, and misunderstanding some teachings in church that like the first shall be last and the last shall be first, misunderstanding that and putting a concept on money besides that it's just an exchange, right? If we didn't have dollar bills, I would carry around some chicken and sheep and I'd give it to that person and they'd give me some eggs, and it would be a different concept of what money and wealth is. and not feeling that it means anything. It's just to be physically healthy and have physical health, to have relationship health, to have financial health, just to be prosperous in all ways, and to really celebrate other people's prosperity. When you're working side by side with someone and they get a raise, your reaction, because they are you, has got to be, way to go, great, because there's more than enough. And when we have envy and jealousy, we're really creating lack for ourselves. When we judge others for having things that maybe we haven't manifested yet, we're claiming that we will not have them. And the more you can celebrate another person's, like really celebrate it, another person's success in, the greatest relationship ever, the more likely you're going to have that too. And the same thing with finances. It's very common and bonding sometimes for people to sit around and say, oh, did you see her? Did you see that ring on her finger? Do you think it was big enough? And there's just no need to judge that as something right or wrong. Just celebrate. Wow, that's a big diamond somebody dug out and she gets to wear it on her finger. Never judging somebody for having things or for having a nice car, because every time you do, you're really proclaiming that there is lack for you.
I love that perspective on it. I think that's fantastic. You said something a second ago that I want to go back to, Sabrina, which is you said you have to almost have a scientific approach to it. And that, I know that you guys say that there actually is a tried and true formula that gets the law of attraction working directly for you. And I think a lot of what we've been talking about so far is the things that we do that kind of get the law of attraction working not for us. So can you share that formula with us and what that means, how we can start transforming, or as you say, quantum transforming the different areas of our life?
We'd love to. After we were fortunate to meet with John and connect with him, we had questions for him because, he was we called him the vision board master, this guy, like you put this thing on there and you end up living in that home. That's amazing. Look what happened to us. We ended up having a beautiful wedding. We rebuilt this dojo. We've been helping students with healing and transformation and all this cool stuff's happening. What's going on? Because John had that scientific approach to his work. He always wanted to understand what's going on in the brain. Let's kind of get away from this seeming too woo-woo wackadoo, a little bit too out there, too much just believing in it, to let's understand. And the first thing that, as we were working with John, that we talked about was, how do you open the door to the deeper layer of the mind, the subconscious, where you need to get to put in the right information? Because a lot of it's not sticking, right? People have these great ideas like, oh, I would love to have that, or they start very disciplined practice to create, to manifest. They build their vision boards. They start going to the gym or whatever, but those old habits, or he would say those old neural networks, end up trumping anything that they set out to do in the beginning because they didn't stay the course and they didn't get deep enough into that part of the brain where the rewiring really takes place. And he showed us that all those years of meditation, what that had done for us was give us this skill and the ability to get into that alpha state. So that's that state that we start slipping into as we're falling asleep, or when you're going into a hypnotic state, or when you're meditating and relaxing. So you move from a beta frequency, like high focus, action-oriented brain, to a deeper. And then you go from alpha down into the theta, and then the deeper layers and the gammas, or the delta and the gammas. And he said there is a way to help people get into that alpha-like state without years and years and years of meditation like you guys have gone through. And if you get the right technology, it can be done very quickly. And so if you've heard of before, folks, brain wave entrainment, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's certain sounds that scientists and brain specialists have learned how to create that put the brain very quickly and naturally into that alpha state. And John was listening to that type of sound, and also Baroque music. Baroque music has the ability to do that for the brain. And then he would read on a lamination page his affirmations. And so he was rewiring his brain like that for years, and then he would look at the pictures on his vision board. And so we started working with John, like, how do you put all that together into a formula and stack it together so you could literally soak your brain and stimulate your emotions and your energy system all at one time in a condensed way to create a massive shift? And so what we came up with was this process that Sabrina named the Affirm a Vision process. So here's what we ended up doing. We would take a track of music that was very pleasant, that was specific to a brainwave state in alpha that might be more related to, let's say, you want to increase your confidence or your business success. So this science-based technology was there. And then we would take affirmations, the way John had learned to write affirmations with the right language patterns and syntax, because he's been studying this for so many years. There's a way to either get the brain to accept or reject the affirmation, like Sabrina was saying earlier. And if it seems too much of a stretch, it won't allow you to absorb that at the deeper layer. Now, the good news is, by putting the brain first in that alpha state, you're kind of opening the door up. So you can put some stuff in there that it might not normally allow in right away. And some of those syntax patterns are about having these things now, not in the future. One of those big mistakes, right? The carrot at the end of the stick. One day I'll be, oh, but wait a minute. If we could do that and put the right information in, which is the second part of the formula we call the mental blueprint, now we're starting to make some traction here. So the first step in this formula is get into what we call the receptive alpha. The second step is to put the right mental blueprint in. So the right affirmations with the right syntax, and then be looking at images that cause an emotional charge. So there's certain pictures that we all choose, perhaps for our vision board. We look at them and go, oh, my God, that's awesome. Well, that's what creates that positive vibration that we saw in the movie The Secret being sent out, either positive or negative, right? Because you could look at a picture that alarms you, and immediately you're sending out a negative vibration. So if the right picture, the right affirmations in this brainwave state, you're stacking the experience. So we created a tool to help people do that very, very quickly. And that was what was so excited about working with John. He also explained to us, in order for something to stick at a neurological level, it has to be fed to the brain consistently for 21 to at least 30 days to build those new neural networks in the brain. And Sabrina was talking about the seed and how we dig it up all the time. We don't give it a chance. Well, that's for the brain, too. We don't give the brain a chance to build those new grooves and those pathways if we're not consistent. And what causes that inconsistency is doubt or limitation, just like I had the limiting thought when I was talking to Joe Vitale about, oh, one day I'd like to have that, but I can't have that now because I'm going to try to get this new car and all of that. And all of a sudden, when he said, no, it's possible, and I believed that it was possible, and I removed that resistance, it started to pop much, much faster. But I did that consistently. So that's a little piece of the whole thing. But there's another part that Sabrina will share about, and that's the inspired taking action. She loves this because it's not just the law of attraction. You've got to hyphenate that. What does that mean?
Yeah, I did an article once for our blog, and it was called, you can't just sit on your butt eating Cheetos thinking something's going to happen. That the action part is so important because action is energy. You move in the direction. Like an airplane, when it has a tailwind, you get to where you're going a lot faster. So something in motion, objects in motion tend to remain in motion. Objects at rest, eating Cheetos, tend to remain at rest. So by having the brain in this open state, which it isn't something outside of you that you're trying to get to, it's already there. It's just the habit of practice or using a tool like brain entrainment to get there, and having these affirmations in the right way and in the right order. And for me, everything works in pictures. That's that scientific imagination. I am extremely visual. I see everything as pictures. seeing a picture and feeling it as you, even if it's a picture of somebody else, and what that would feel like. So if you look at a picture, say, of a couple, and they're having this loving embrace looking at each other, you don't want to look at that picture as though that's a couple outside of you. You are that couple. You are the woman, or you are the man in that couple, and you feel how happy it feels to have a life partner, to feel wanted, to feel seen, to be able to witness someone else's life, to have someone to shower your love on and that they love you back, to share a home with. And as you allow yourself to feel the emotions of what that visual causes, that is extremely powerful. And as you move into action, let's take the relationship, for example. You should probably leave your house, right, if you're looking for a relationship. Go places, do things, be around other people, help out the universe, right? Don't do your part, give the universe a break. And just consistently having that action, that it could be something as simple as, I teach cardio dance fitness 6 mornings a week. I absolutely love it. So I took all my experience in dance, and now I do like a 60-minute cardio class with weights and bands, and I have 90-year-olds and 70-year-olds and 30-year-olds in the class, and we have a blast. They take action. They come to class. Guess what? They lose the weight. They hear me talking about nutrition. They start making more positive, healthy choices. Endorphins are released, dopamine. They become happier and healthier. They attain to their goal, that mind-body-one connection, because they took action in alignment with where they wanted to go. And that action is so important. Not hard work, not stressed out, right? Not obsessive compulsive, that I used to be so familiar with. Just taking relaxed action, knowing the end of the book is right where you are. It's not always in the future.
I want to ask you to clarify a little bit more because I know this is something that everybody struggles with, that difference between, inspired action and like forcing yourself to take action, where it is sort of obsessive and, you maybe even are forcing, even though it feels like you're doing something, I'm taking action, you're actually kind of lengthening the journey. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between the two and how we might know which is which?
I think what can be confusing sometimes is anytime we're stretching beyond where we currently are, like stretching a piece of elastic, it can feel like there's a little bit of tension. And that little bit of tension is not hard work. You're pushing up against your current comfort zone, which we're obviously going to have to do if we want to grow, right? We're outgrowing the pants we're wearing. Our waistline starts pressing on that elastic band. And for anything to be a challenge, or the brain research says, for us to feel a sense of satisfaction or happiness with anything that we attain, it had to feel like a challenge so that we have that feeling of, I did it, I accomplished it, I got it, it works. If things are not a little bit of a stretch, a slight challenge, a little tiny bit outside of your current reach, you really won't get that extraordinary feeling of happiness that you're looking for. So the actions might feel, well, I'm kind of scared to go to the gym. I've never done that. Or I've never gone to happy hours before to meet someone. You will do actions that feel outside of your comfort zone. But to me, I always tune into my intuition, which is so powerful when you spend time in that meditative alpha state. And I can actually feel if it's right action, which will feel maybe a little bit of butterflies, but it doesn't feel like I can't sleep, I'm stressed out, I'm forcing it, I'm pushing it. I think the action you take is showing up and stepping outside of the comfort zone, but not trying to control, not trying to manipulate. I like to walk through life being surprised by all the miracles and expecting them, but I'm not responsible for creating all of them. because the universe likes to surprise us. I think the universe loves when we go, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming right now in that way, right? Sometimes we are moving in a certain direction and we're visualizing a guy in a blue shirt, but when he shows up, he might be wearing teal, and that's okay if he's a nice guy. Those little bit of surprises. Does that help answer the question?
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect, and I do love that concept of let the universe surprise you, because it's got some awesome stuff in store for you if you do. Okay, so everything we just talked about that you both just shared with us. So getting into, what was it, the perfect alpha state? What's the first step?
It's the RA. We call that RA, receptive alpha state, that meditative-like state.
Okay, great. So we start with that, and then that's where this is that formula, right, that gets it working for us, and that allows us. And what I like about what we're talking about here is we can use this for any area of our life, and you've both referred to that quite a bit, which I like. You're not just talking about money. I like, Sabrina, you're mentioning, love, you're mentioning relationship, you're mentioning money, you're mentioning, health and fitness. So this is something that we can use to quantum transform any area of our life. Is that correct?
Totally. We're in the very center of this beautiful circle, and on the outside is all the different things that you love experiencing in your life.
Awesome. I love that. Now, here's my next question with that. When we start using this formula, and I personally, I'm someone that I'm like, I love if it's a formula, because then I can just, right? I can just do it. Do you find that even if, let's say, I'm like, what, I want to do this formula, and I'm focused on money. Like, that is just my primary thing, because I think everybody listening probably has their primary thing they're most aware of right now. Will you automatically also start to see that the other areas of your life are also kind of growing and transforming, or do you have to give attention to each of them with this? Does that question make any sense?
It does, and I think when you start having success in one area, your confidence builds, and your understanding of how your mind and the universe works shifts into a state of more possibility and more belief, and absolutely it will spill over. But you can get as specific as you want, because when you're working with a formula like this, as soon as you move into the next phase of the formula, which is the mental blueprint, the MB, if you're writing this down, you just write mental blueprint, you're putting in specific images and affirmations that are aligned with what your desires are. And coming back to that talk about desires from earlier, desire is good. Desire is beautiful. Your body desires to grow and heal and take care of you, right, every day. Everything, our default is life forward. Our default is more abundance, right? So you start getting clear on what images you're putting in that fulfill you and bring you a sense of joy, all of a sudden this formula starts to really work for you. But you can pick different areas. In fact, Sabrina and I, what we've done with John is we've helped people identify those different areas of life, because there's a lot of moving parts to life. And it can seem a little overwhelming, like, oh my God, I got my relationship. Wait a minute, I've got my romantic relationship, I've got my parenting and my kids, and I got my family, and I got my social life and my friends, and then I got my business, and I got my finances, and I got my physical health, and I've got all this stuff. It can seem crazy. So we've tried to help people distill that down into simple areas that they can choose to focus on, and then help them with, because some people just have a hard time getting started with a process like this, right? Like, I don't even know which pictures to pick to put on my board or to watch. Well, we just like to meditate and get our head screwed on straight, if you will, get out of the way, listen to the heart. And then when we look at pictures that make our energy go up and make us feel happy, we tend to believe that those are images that others would like. We don't presume to know what anyone else wants, but if you're going to help someone just get started with something like this, you want to at least get in a really good state and try to find the best stuff you can find. So I would say that for anyone is, if you're trying to find the right pictures, just do some nice deep breathing, clear your mind, and then just start flipping through a magazine or whatever. And when you see one, you feel your energy go up, you get a little smile on your face, or like Sabrina said, you get a little butterfly, like, oh, ooh, that's exciting. Then those are in alignment with you.
That's awesome. That's something that we can all literally do right away. What a great way of looking at it. And here's what I love about it. It's fun.
Yes.
right? It's not like, okay, now I'm going to go look through the magazine, So I love that, right? I must attract the best life. It's like Robo Law of Attraction. No, so I love that you're making it fun. I love that there's that, air of it. So in doing all of this, is that how we're able to get the results quicker and easier than we'd imagine? Is that how it becomes less work?
It's a few things. It's really the fusion of the different pieces to this. So definitely what speeds up the process for anyone is getting into that receptive state. I mean, the key word there is receptive. It means your mind is going to allow this information to go within, right? It's when we're rejecting it that we have the problem. Or the other piece that we'll get to again later is that consistency. If you're not consistent, well, you're not, first of all, building the emotional charge, because every time you look at an image that made you feel good, and then you look at it again, and then you look at it again, that builds, right? That grows, which affects the next piece of this formula, which is the PV, the positive vibration or the positive feelings. You might look at a picture and be like, I'm looking at a picture of a nice body. That's great. That's not my body. I'll never have that body. I'll stick my head on there. Oh, that's dumb. You could. Well, what kind of vibration are you sending out? So, I mean, I'm doing that, but people are like going through that. So
people do it all the time. Absolutely. That's why it's funny. It's funny because it's true.
Right? So when the picture's right, and you water those pictures with the right affirmations, because think about that. You look at the image. If you just watched a movie, right, but a silent movie, it doesn't have the same impact on you until you hear that music, right? And then you hear people engaging in conversation. Well, you need the affirmation to enhance the mental movie that you're putting in. So those affirmations are essential, and that you choose the right ones that are, again, life forward. They create more confidence within you, more believability. They create a state of abundance consciousness. Because there's certain people that write affirmations, and bless their souls, they don't know they're doing it. They're saying what they don't want, right? When I get out of debt. We all heard that one in The Secret. But, when I lose this weight.
When I
stop smoking, I will then blah, blah, blah. This pain will be relieved now. And they don't know that they're just telling that you can't process the negative. The brain goes, oh, let me give you more pain. That's what I was doing with my back pain. All the things the doctors told me, oh, my God, you have this and degeneration and this bone is out and all of that. I was like, and kept repeating those affirmations all day long.
Right.
My body got worse and worse and worse. I had to have some discipline to shift that. That's another important piece, because you guys touched on that, you and Sabrina. Like, there is a discipline to stretching your body a little bit, right? There's a discipline to stretching your life a little, but not so far that you hurt yourself, or not so far that it's not fun anymore. Like you said, it's got to stay fun. So
I think fun is the fuel for everything. When you're in alignment with, this is fun, this is joyful, I think that is our natural state of being, and you're using your imagination to intentionally see what you want in life, not just for you, but for others, what you want creation to be, you will feel a sense of exhilaration and fun. I used to have such deep answers to things when I was in our meditation group and on my very rigid practice. We still eat very well, but for years, no sugar, no wheat, no alcohol, no meat, no fun. Nothing was allowed.
Yeah.
But now my life is based on snacks and playing.
That's pretty true.
I love it. That's awesome.
When no matter what, you know that the priority is, and that, it is a little bit of a joke, but with the innocence and childlike abandonment of snacks and playing when you wake up, the day's going to be filled with snacks and playing. And you really enjoy and add fuel and fun, because you need to experience ahead of time the joy you feel having and doing the things you want to do and have. Feel the joy now, and that is a magnet that pulls it to you like a magnet. You can have a piece of steel that isn't magnetized, or you can have a piece of steel that's magnetized, and it pulls so much to it. And I think it's that sense of joy and fun and gratitude that magnetizes us.
Creates that positive vibration, and you start pulling it in. It must be the reason that those people came into our lives so quickly, because we didn't work very hard at it. We just projected it out. Like, that would be fun.
You know,
yeah, that's so cool.
I started a charity gala, and it was just something fun. Dancing with the Stars, the TV show, was so fun, and I had all this background in ballroom dancing, and I knew a lot of world champions and people that lived in the U.S. and people that lived in our hometown that had U.S. titles, and they asked me to help create a charity for abused children in Austin, Texas. And I had so much fun creating an on-stage version of that with local celebrities and professional dancers, and my judges were comedians, and I just put it out there. Oh, you know, like fun, like the Little Rascals have fun putting on those plays in their backyard, like that kind of fun. And lighting and sound. And we started that in 2007, and that show has brought in over $5 million
wow.
for children. And it came from a spark of, how can I give? How can I share? How can I have fun and let other people have fun? And so much abundance came and poured. People want to give and to provide this fun way that they can give and they can share and they can support. So I absolutely love that these tools that we teach are not about being selfish. It's about having so that you have something to give. If you have nothing to give, then you must need to take, right? And I think that we are all possible of being such givers, but because of limiting thought, we put ourselves in the role of takers. And it is not humble. It is just a limiting thought, and we can all be such givers. We just have to allow it.
I love that. There's that great allow word. I think that's so important. Okay, so quickly review the steps, and then tell me if there are any more steps that we need to be aware of.
Okay, great. I think everyone knows them now. So the first one's RA, get into that receptive alpha, then start putting in the right mental blueprints. Those are your visualizations and your affirmations. And then times that, if you will, with some really awesome positive vibration. All the words that just came out of Sabrina's mouth came with a humongous smile. So allow yourself to smile and feel it here and now. So important. And be consistent is next. So RA plus MB times PV. And then plus consistency. 21 days. Make a calendar. I'm going to do this particular focus for 21 days. I'm going to focus on my relationship, enhancing it, or attracting a wonderful person to share my life with. And I'm going to keep those pictures going and those affirmations. I'm going to stay happy every day. And then take action, because the universe starts dropping these little golden opportunities into your life, right? So all of a sudden someone says, hey, would you like to go out for lunch? And you're like, you know what, I'll do that. You know, normally maybe I wouldn't. And then you end up meeting someone. I don't know how the universe works for anyone, but it does work if you give it, like Sabrina said, give the universe a break, participate. So inspired. And then just allow those manifestations to pop, like you said, Kristen, that allow word. When you force it, you know, it ain't going to come. You're going to block it. So that beautiful state of trust, that's the formula.
Okay, awesome. First of all, we can all go and do this now, which I thank you so much for, because that's really, really incredible what you've shared with us. I would love to know, because I think it's helpful for us to see what's possible. Do you have a couple of stories you can share with us? Maybe, you know, some turnarounds that you've seen, people who have worked with you with what you're doing, just so we can really get a feel for, you know, what might be able to happen for us?
Of course, and I love this, because this is what helped me heal my back, Kristen, was reading other people's transformations and successes. I was like, oh my gosh, I know I can have a healing like that too, or have a breakthrough. So to be able to share other students of ours, their breakthroughs is a gift and a joy for us. We had a student who came to us in the academy. We have a local academy here in Austin. We've had it for 20 years. So, you know, we're real FaceTime teachers. We're not just out there on the internet writing some web pages. We have real students that work out with us and train with us. And he came in, his name's Tommy Schultz, and he wanted to learn martial arts. But when he walked through the door on a cane. And he was going blind and deaf on one side of his body and losing all of his mobility down through his leg. That's why he had to have the cane. He'd recently been diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis. So this is a really big situation. And this guy walks in and says, I want to be a martial artist. I want to become a fighter and a black belt. And I'm thinking, whoa, man, is quantum transformation possible for something like that? Now, I wouldn't be telling you this story if magic didn't happen, right? So this guy comes in, and I've been through my own healing journey and my transformation that I've shared about, so I know the power of meditation and affirmations and visualizations and moving the energy. I'd mentioned that word qigong, which means moving energy or working with energy. I said to this guy, hey, listen, if you're willing to work with the tools that we've got and you'll go through the training and be consistent, I'll accept you as a student. Let's see what happens. So he joined, and he practiced, Kristen, every single day. That guy, what an inspiration for me and everyone. He showed up. He couldn't do a lot in the beginning, but he could sit and he could close his eyes and he could visualize himself doing the movements. That right there is starting to stimulate the brain, isn't it? Because for every thought you have a corresponding effect in your body. So I don't know how it works. I'm not a doctor, but I believe that he was rewiring his brain because MS attacks the nervous system and attacks these sheaths around the nerve cells. They're called myelin sheaths, and it confuses the signal of information. Now, his doctors had told him, you're going to probably be in a wheelchair in about 2 years. Get ready. Here's the things that you're going to experience and go through. And so they gave him that diagnosis, but he didn't accept that. He saw a different outcome for himself. So he was visualizing, he was meditating, he was getting in that receptive alpha, and he was smiling. He'd come to class. This guy was in a positive vibration. He felt a sense of hopefulness, and he was reclaiming his power by working with his mind, even though his body had been failing him. And then, with that consistency, he took action. Not only mentally, you've got to take physical action as well. He started doing the best he could with the movements and started trying to create the martial art postures and moves. And little by little, this guy's body started coming back to life. And 5.5 years later, he tested for his black belt. Now, it wasn't one of those situations where, the guy, he's still kind of crippled, but we're going to give him his black belt. There's a picture of Tommy Schultz. I think he's on our website. You'll see him doing this side kick into the bag. He is crushing it. He is busting through the bag. He was the most amazing transformation. The newspapers wrote stories on him, but he is now a teacher, and he's a sensei, which is a high-level teacher because he learned how to take those tools and make them his own. So that's one very powerful shift that happened for somebody. I know that one's a lot to take in.
Wow, that's incredible.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's the power of our mind, though. And
yeah, it's true.
It's been really sweet. There's tons and tons of emails that come in. When we first worked with John Assaraf, we did a program for people that wanted to enter a little competition of quantum transformation. And we were like, hey, guys, we're going to do this thing. And John has agreed that, if you do this for 21 days and you make the commitment or all the way up to 30 days, share with us some of the transformations that you have. And we'll pick the top 5 people, and you can come out to San Diego and you can check out the home that was talked about in the movie The Secret. So that was really fun. And wow,
that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. Dawn Setter, she won that. She says, thank you for the opportunity you've given me to enhance my practice, meditation, and affirmations. The benefits are huge. I've been studying and practicing for a long time, and this is truly one of the best programs I've had the pleasure of doing. The videos are great, so much. So there's a program that we created for her. The videos are great, so much. I've downloaded them when I need a pep talk. I have you at my fingertips. I look forward to continuing my quantum transformation. This is a real stroke of genius. And, there's tons of them here, but.
Well, one sort of personal, I guess you would call success story happened really recently. One of my just really dear friends, she is kind of high up interior designer, so she really has focused on her career. And she's 47, and she's never been married, had quite a few relationships that always ended with some terrible drama. Either the guy left her for a younger girl or she was picking the wrong guys because she kept putting out the same message over and over. And she was really having a lot of struggle with weight gain and depression, basically miserable. And, here I am, just her dance teacher at the time. Of course, that's never true. I'm really always somebody's, spiritual friend, just disguised as here I to dance too.
Right.
But she started going through this process of the affirmations and the visualizations and the meditation, and first educating her. Because if you don't know the possibilities, if you don't even understand the science, it's really hard for your brain to grasp it. Like we all thought the world was flat, and then somebody went all the way around it, and we're like, oh, it's round. We can now all accept that, but we can't until we have the information. And then she was going through some of our affirmavisions that we have that we call them pre-made. We do it all for you. She recently, maybe 3 weeks ago, we went to her wedding. Within 6 months of doing this process, she went to her high school reunion and met with a friend of her older brother's whose wife had actually passed away. And they had a spark. She started dating him. They get along fantastic. The depression went away. She's lost 40 pounds by the time of the wedding. And we just went to their wedding. It's like, wow, that was fast. Like, I'm always surprised, even though I expect it. Within 6 months, this sweet, sweet friend of mine, her whole life has changed. And she still can focus on her career, but she's allowed herself to have other things in her life, too, and not to be so stressed out. And before all of this happened and she started doing it, she was doing the same thing she always did, online dating services where guys weren't showing up to pick her up that they had scheduled, and just really drawing to her repeated abuse from men that didn't see how beautiful she was, didn't look past the exterior, felt competitive with her financial success in business. So to see somebody so close to me's life totally transform, that just felt amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and I love actually what you've done here is shared with us stories that are in different areas of life, which I think is just so fantastic, because that truly helps us go, okay, so whatever it is, it's possible, which I think is just really, really powerful. And obviously, I mean, you guys have been incredible. You've given us so much. You gave us those steps in the 21 days. And I mean, there's everything. There's so much that we can do. Obviously, there is so much more that we could learn from you guys. And we don't have weeks to sit around and chat, although I would love that. So what I did was I asked you guys to put together a special offer for everybody who's listening. You very, very nicely did, to go to Tristan and Sabrina's special offer right now so that you can experience it for yourself as they talk you through. You can simply click on the special offer button that is on the page that you are on right now. And can you guys let us know what we'll find there?
We'd love to. And when you guys are on the page, you'll see a little mini presentation from John Assaraf. And basically, if you have the time or if you'd like to watch him, he'll also be explaining the details of what's on this page. So that's there for you. And then as you scroll down through it, you'll see what we put together with John. This is called the Quantum Transformation Course. And so we went through that formula and we said, okay, how do we make this the easiest, simple way for people to be able to rewire their brain, shift their energetic state, get into the receptive alpha? Let's help them with, like Sabrina said, pre-made experience. Let's meditate on the best pictures, the most conscious, abundance-focused pictures, and let's put those together into a 5-minute process. And you just simply listen with the headphones or your little earbuds on. The music puts your brain in the right state. You see the images because these are videos. You can watch them right on your computer, and we also can send them to you, and you can watch them off of the discs that we send. And as you're seeing these beautiful images, we're soaking your brain with the right affirmations written by ourselves and John with the language patterns and the syntax patterns that your brain loves. And so you do this consistently and you watch them, and they're, again, just very short, 5 minutes, and you can pick the different areas of life that you'd like to focus on. So maybe you're wanting to move forward more with your business. We have one for business success, and that's John speaking on that. Or maybe you would like one for self-esteem, and Sabrina is taking you through some wonderful affirmations and visualizations. Weight loss, Sabrina put an incredible weight loss one together, and physical vitality, one for men and one for women with different images, John and Sabrina doing those. I've created one for you on meditation to help you get into that space and to have that stress relief that we all need in this freaking crazy, overwhelming, fast-paced world that we're in. There's one for financial stability, right? And then there's one for people who would love to shift into that millionaire mindset. So there's more in there, but take a look. They're all right there. And then there are, after you watch those Affirmavisions, you can listen to the 30-minute affirmation tracks. And we like to listen to these when we're just, heading off into sleep, or we've got a little extra time to sit down and just chillax. And that's just helping to put that brain state in a little bit deeper and send those affirmations down deeper. Sabrina mentioned something earlier about education and the scientific understanding of how these modalities work. Like, how do visualizations work in your brain? What are brainwave states? How does that affect, your subconscious mind? What is the difference between the different states? How do you write affirmations in the right way if you want to make your own Affirmavisions? How do you meditate? What's the difference between the benefits of psychological meditation versus spiritual meditation? Or what about moving and physical meditations? So we wrote a book, one for affirmations, one for visualizations, and one for meditations that explain to you the science behind each modality. We went very, very deep on those.
They're downloadable books or the audio book, because I like to listen to things when I drive so I can listen to them over and over. They say if we listen to educational material when we drive, within 2 years, it's a whole year of college.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
And the education helps your brain to accept the Affirmavisions faster. That's the other reason they're important to listen to, because it's like listening to a success story and your brain goes, oh my gosh, that's possible for them. That could be possible for me. Education is power. So that's important that's part of the program. And John was really, really adamant about, we've got to give these guys the depth of information, the latest evidence-based research. So with John's help, that came out incredible. And so we take people through consistency, right? That was another part of the practice. Well, in addition to you being consistent with your, putting it on your calendar or making sure you do it, we support you by sending you an Affirmavision every day. So it's an email postcard, and it has the reminder to do your Affirmavision, and it goes through the different areas of life each day.
And that's every day for 6 months. So every morning or whenever someone checks their email, they have a reminder. They can press a button and hear the affirmation being said. They can see a picture just for those 15 seconds. As many times as we can put the information in where it goes, the bigger your garden's going to be.
Totally.
Wow, so cool. Now, let me ask you this. When people start using this package, what are some of the biggest benefits that people could expect to start experiencing literally right away? What are some of the things they'll start to feel?
How easy it is. That's the number one goal we were after. How are we going to be able to help people get started instantly? So
wow.
That's the first thing. And what else is important to us is that it's easily accessible on any device that you own. So we have a lot of people, they want to hear it on their iPhone or their iPad or their tablet, or they might want to watch it on their big computer or their laptop computer. We went to painstaking efforts with technology guys, we'll call them the geeks, right? To figure out how you don't have to, if you've ever had a digital course before, I bet you've come across this issue. Oh, it didn't download properly. The file is corrupt. You need a special plug-in, or you don't have the right player, or your computer downloaded it and you can't find it. Right? We've all been through that. Well, we figured out a way to get you past all of that. We created an online membership for the whole course. So all you do is you put in your little access code once you own it, and it takes you right to the program, and instantly you start going through you can listen to all of the audios Sabrina talked about. You can watch all of the Affirmavisions right there. You can read all of the books. There's a wonderful introduction from John Assaraf explaining how the power of these work, and you can download them too if you want to. But that barrier has been completely removed. Plus, some people really like to own the physical copy. right? They want to see it, to touch it, to put it in their computer themselves, or, put it in the car and listen. Not the ones with brain entrainment, guys. You got to not be driving when you do those, but we will ship it to you as well. So there's 2 different ways you can experience it.
Wow, that's awesome. And I love that, exactly what you said, because I think so many people struggle with getting started. So the fact that you've made it easy to get started, that's the big step, right? That's
the missing step. People throw this whole course at you and you go, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. There's so many downloads here. Yeah, I know I got a lot of value, but what good is it if you can't use it? It becomes shelf-help. It's not self-help, it's shelf-help, right? So we made sure that this is done in modules. So you go through it stage by stage by stage. We guide you.
Awesome.
We're teachers and we're coaches, so it's important to us that you know that we're there for you. So this is Sabrina and I. I mean, if anyone ever has a question, guess who you're talking to? You're talking to us.
It's like, hello, customer service, this is Sabrina.
Now that's awesome. A big deal, though.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. That's amazing. And I love, I can feel the passion that comes from you guys, and there is that element of fun. So I'm thrilled to be able to offer this to everyone. So again, simply click on the special offer button that is on this page. Again, that's livebigmedia.com/Satori, spelled SATORI. You guys have been amazing. I love your energy. You're a lot of fun. You make it already feel easy as opposed to like this whole thing. And I love even that it's, it is a system. As I said before, I love it if it's a formula, because I can just do it. And I don't have to sit there and worry, does this work? It does. So it's just a matter of doing it. And I think that's amazing. Before we go, and you guys have even hung out longer than I told you I would keep you, so thank you for that. What do you want us to have resonating in our heads as we leave you today? What do we need to hear?
Okay. Great question. Sabrina, would you like to jump into that?
Sure. I would think that the core of my message for everyone, use all these tools, but beyond that, don't hide your light under a bushel, that your special spice that you add to life is needed, and that we are full of infinite possibilities, and that you are wonderful, and know that and claim that and live that.
And I would love to share that quantum, meaning like instant transformation, is possible. It's beautiful for the seed to go through the incubation phase and to enjoy the journey, but some of us are ready to pop. We've been on the incubation phase long enough. We're ready to pop, and sometimes it's just that little missing piece, and bang, you have that Satori or that awakening or that insight. And we believe that the tools, the way that we put this together, can help you have that pop faster. And we'll back that up with 100% money-back guarantee. What that means is if you go through the program and you don't feel that you had a quantum transformation, then there's no harm, no foul. You just let us know and send it back. Last little secret is when you do these affirmations, I know exactly what's going to happen for you. You're going to start seeing things show up. You're going to start wondering, wow, that was easy. I wonder what else I can manifest. At the end of the affirmation, as you're sitting there and it's just finished, feel as if that experience is in your life here now, not in the future, here now. And then just send that vibration out and send it from your heart. Not only your brain, send it from your heart, because your heart has the ability to send out an electrical signal that is 5,000 times greater than your brain alone. And that right there, and we'll include a training, a qigong training, an energy training that shows you how to do that. It's how we sealed the deal with John Assaraf to make this course for you guys. We did this qigong exercise and sent out our image from the heart, and it manifested like within seconds. We walked in the building, and John gave us a big hug and said, come on in, guys, how are we going to play together? So send it out.
Wow. Awesome. I love that. I love what both of you said. It's the perfect way to end the call. So first, I want to thank everybody listening. You are all absolutely extraordinary, and I love being able to share this time with you. And Tristan and Sabrina, you are fantastic. You're just phenomenal. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait till we get to do this again.
Thank you so much, Kristen. This has been a total joy.
Yes, you're wonderful. You really help us pull out everything and add to the conversation. I'd love to do it again.
Sounds Fantastic. And until the next time, everyone, keep manifesting. Bye-bye, all.